Hello, I'm David DeCosmo. Welcome to ECTV Live. I'm joined with my co-host, Rusty Fender. Is not my co-host today, is he? It is.
Happy holidays,
Or is
David.
it Shadow?
It doesn't really matter.
Or is it Dale?
As long as the paycheck is signed correctly.
Okay. Rusty Fender, we go
Good to see
by
you, David.
for this
Yeah,
program.
for this show.
Rusty is a man of many hats. He's done a lot of radio shows, done traffic reports, and consequently, he has a couple stage names. So we like to make sure you understand this is the same guy.
But then you do ECTV and it doesn't get any better than this. This is the apex of my career right here, Dave.
And this is probably one of the top shows we do too, because in a sense, the attraction we're going to talk to you about, from a public relations point of view, we sort of broke the story.
Yeah, that's right.
Joe Spinelli joins us today. And
Hi,
Joe.
Hi.
Welcome
And
back.
I'm just Joe Spinelli. I used to be called Evil Spineval, but when I used to jump garbage cans with my bicycle, but now I'm just Joe Spinelli.
Well, and you can't say just because of the efforts that you make to brighten the Christmas season for so many people. Joe has a Christmas display that's set up right at his house in Newfoundland, Pennsylvania, and we'll give you directions during the show. And it isn't like the most lights you've ever seen. It's not like that contest they have on television.
Yes,
where,
that's right.
40,000 lights or something
Or the
like
Music
that.
Street House, who we had the guest on as well.
Exactly.
Yep.
But it is extremely unique, and that's because of the items, the animated figures that you see in these displays.
And the history behind them.
The history behind them. I'm just going to show you one of the older photos first of all, because we've got some new ones as well. But this display is set up in modified trailers around a sort of a cul-de-sac near Joe's home in Newfoundland. And Joe, we've got to get into the background of this and why it is so unique, because it isn't just a lot of nicely colored Christmas trees or Christmas lights. There's real history behind your display, and we'll show some more pictures as we go too. But please give us the background of how it all got started and why it's so unique.
Well, when I was about 5 years old, my father used to take myself and my siblings in the car and go to see some of the animated displays in the area in Brooklyn. So the display is reminiscent of the old department store windows, and they're all animated figures. They're not being produced anymore, so I repair them throughout the year and then display them at Christmas time. And so we're just trying to keep the old time tradition going on.
And these actually were in some windows in a department store.
Yes, in department stores back in the 50s and 60s, yeah.
That's where it all started, the big city. Macy's, Gimbel's, Abraham and Straus, the big department stores in that era.
Right.
And I think most all of us, if you come from any city, not necessarily the boroughs, although some of those had their department stores as well, but certainly any of the cities, the Pittston's and the Hazeltons
and right across the street
here in Scranton,
Right.
Wilkes-Barre, you had at least one major department store, and in a lot of cases you had several, and they would almost compete to put
the best window displays. Yeah, absolutely.
And I know I always refer to this, but it's kind of, since we don't see them in the stores all that much anymore, if you see the movie A Christmas Story, where little Ralphie's looking to get that BB gun, one of the opening scenes has all these young kids looking into a department store window, and you've got the train running around, and you've got the little elf and Santa figures that are moving back and forth. This is exactly what we're talking about.
And not only that, David, but just think about an actual job, a 40-hour-a-week job as a window dresser in those days.
Producing those.
Exactly, an actual position that lasted 12 months out of the year. That's unbelievable. That's a sign of the
times.
times.
They would change with the seasons as well.
Sure.
But Christmas was the big one.
Yeah, you'd need a summer beach theme for the summer, and then a fall, and you'd work on these, and you'd have to get props and mannequins in those days in. A full-time job as a window dresser. How times have changed.
Probably only find that in the major
You're right.
cities now.
You're right.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, how did they wind up from a department store in Brooklyn into Joe Spinelli's backyard?
Well, my wife happened to go into the store in Brooklyn where they used to display these, and noticed one year that they weren't set up. And my wife's very independent. She's actually the breadwinner of the family. And she, the old man that was running the place there, told her that he was just too tired and didn't have it in him to set them up anymore. And she made a deal with him, and they became ours.
Yeah, and why did you decide, though, to, I mean, you could have just enjoyed them yourself.
Well, no, there was. I remember when I was a kid, and my father took me to see them, and I was always in awe. I thought that I was at the North Pole. I swore I was at the North Pole. So that's how I want to make the kids feel, around here now.
Sure,
and
sure.
keep it going, and hopefully my son will do that after I'm gone. And
That's great. You broke the mold, which people are complaining about these days when you go out and a private collector spends $600 million for a painting, which you'll never ever see.
Hides it as far as the public
see that,
is concerned.
and
Yeah.
people are outraged. They're saying these things should not be auctioned. They should go to a Louvre or a museum
Sure.
of some kind. So at least you're displaying this while other people hoard it in their cellar until they die. It's a good thing.
And when last we met, a year ago, you said, Dave, we got some new material. So even though this was a unique find to bring those Brooklyn displays to your place, you came up with some new ones as well.
well, we became a nonprofit. We raise money for charity now. Also, besides bringing happiness to the people in the community, just seeing the display, but we also help some charities out. And being that we're a nonprofit, there was a building in Manhattan that wasn't displaying their animated figures anymore, and they just had them sitting in the warehouse. And we got in contact with them, and all we did was ask if they want to donate them, and they donated 3.5 truckloads full of.
Now, tell me about tractor trailer.
Oh, yeah, they're everywhere. They're in my living room, they're in my basement, they're in sheds, they're in the
Remember,
garage.
if you don't
Not anymore.
ask, you might not get it.
Yeah.
But not anymore. Now this year we finally
You're
put up
using
a
some
new
of those
building.
as well.
We put up a new
Okay.
building, and we got to display a lot of them.
Is
There's
this
still
one of the
some
new ones?
That's one of the new ones. Yeah, that's about 5 displays in one. So
Yeah, give
that's
us an idea what we're
pretty
seeing
incredible.
in this particular photo.
I built a small town inside the pole barn that we
beautiful.
had raised, and set up, like a little, sort of like a Victorian town, an old Victorian town with shops and a church and people ice skating and sleigh riding.
Beautiful.
And
That's a lot of work.
so.
And you managed to incorporate some sponsors' names up on the corner here, so
Yeah,
they're
luckily
helping you keep it going.
Yeah, we get we have some good sponsors in the area. Kelly Volkswagen's one of them, and they contribute to help us give to some of the charities.
Right, and
in the
incidentally,
area.
one of those charities is one that we
Keystone-
spotlight here on
Keystone Mission. Yep.
Keystone Mission. And as a matter of fact, we had a check presentation right on the show a couple of years back. Where
Last
you,
year, yeah.
Yeah, and,
Yep.
and I know they're so appreciative of having that.
Right.
So now this is another one of the true. What you've done is you've taken I guess sort of flatbed trailers, so to speak.
Right. Yeah, the old house trailers, and turned them into display cases. Put plexiglass on the front of them and display all the, so it looks like a department store window.
Yeah,
sort of.
yeah. Except you can drive by and see these. I said there's set up on sort of a cul-de-sac kind of
Right.
arrangement.
So a horseshoe, and you drive through. You're not allowed to exit your car,
Right.
insurance reasons. But everything can be seen from the car, and it's a drive-through.
Here's
You don't have to be out in the cold. You can pack the family into the car and come through.
Are these some of the new figures, or are these?
These are fairly new. They were displayed last year, but everything's been changed around just a little bit. this year, and then there's some that haven't been seen before.
Has the supply been dwindling now? I mean, there's only a finite number.
Absolutely,
Yeah,
yes,
see, there's a
because
finite number of this stuff.
They're old, they're fragile,
Sure.
they break down. Some people that don't know their value or don't know how to repair them, just
They're
throw
in the
them
dumpster,
away.
absolutely.
And then there's a small group of us throughout the country that
This is the holy grail
that know
of
how to-
collectibles,
yeah.
absolutely.
know how to repair them and where to get the
Sure,
motors from.
sure.
and-
I guess
Keep it going.
the animated figures, now some of these are stationary, but I guess the animated ones would be almost like, kind of like working on a watch, because you'd have a smaller
It's tight.
mechanical.
Right.
It's tight. Not quite like a watch, but it's tight,
Mechanical arms and
Yeah.
fingers and
Oh, yeah.
pulleys and shafts, yeah,
Well,
absolutely.
what about parts? Are there parts available at all for some of these things?
You have to do a lot of, your own modifying.
Fabricating and such?
And a lot of eBaying too.
Yeah. Yep.
So how does it work now? They just drive up to the display, and it's off one of the main streets in Newfoundland. Let's get to the directions right off the bat. We can give them a couple times, because it isn't like coming down to Christmas Boulevard in Berwick, where
Right,
you've got
it's-
one long street.
it's
but you know
sorta
that,
hidden,
But
yeah.
that's kind of neat too, because you almost expect to find the lights and displays, whether they're animated or not, in, as I said earlier, a
In an
big
urban
city,
area.
an
Absolutely.
urban area.
Sure.
Even your smaller boroughs have,
Absolutely.
if not department stores, they have little community setups. But Newfoundland is near Lake Wallenpaupack.
Right.
And that's a very busy place, obviously, in the summer season, but off-season it is not near as busy. And yet, it is an area that normally attracts people, not only from Pennsylvania, but from New Jersey and New York as well.
Right.
So give us an idea how to get to your display.
Well, first of all, you can put it in your GPS, 391 Crestmont Drive, Newfoundland, Pennsylvania. You can also go to our website, northpolevillage.org, and there'll be directions on there also. But anyway, if you're coming from the Scranton area, Scranton-Wilkes-Barre area,
84.
take 81 to 84, going towards Milford, of course, and you're going to get off at exit 17 and make a right, and straight down into town. When you come to the blinking light, you're going to make another right. That'll be Crestmont Drive, and we're right up the hill on the right-hand side.
Then you pass the school, be on your right going uphill.
Yep.
And you got a fire
Well,
company on your left just a little bit up the road.
Well, you'll pass the school on Main Street, Wallenpaupack South Elementary, and you'll come to the blinking light, and you'll make a right, and then the firehouse will be on the left on Crestmont Drive. as you
So
come
again,
up the
it's
street.
not on your sort of main street kind of thing, but you've had a few.
Just two turns. You get off the highway, make a right, and then Crestmont Drive, make another right.
And you've had a few people stop by over the years, haven't you?
Oh yeah, a lot from Scranton and Wilkes-Barre area, yeah, and not just families with kids. There was some senior citizens like they were out on a date night, and then they'd go to the restaurant down the corner and
Well,
have
the price
a meal.
is certainly right.
So yeah, it's free. It's free.
But you do
we
accept
take donations.
donations, right,
We take
okay.
donations, but we don't pressure anybody. And you can drive in a circle all night if you want and go through. We'll love it.
Sure. You have made some changes in the scheduling this year, so let's talk about that, because I think you originally went.
We were doing Black Friday all the way up to Russian Christmas, but now a lot of people are out shopping on Black Friday, and they want those sales. So I'm out there every night handing out candy to the kids. And actually this year, so we're going to open on we're gonna do the lighting on December 15th, Friday night at 5 p.m. from 5 to 9 p.m. And then it'll be daily up until January 29th. But this year on Friday and Saturday, the 15th and 16th, Santa Claus will be there.
Ah,
So
great.
come
Now,
and see
you're
him.
going through the end of January?
No, December 29th.
December 29th,
December
okay,
29th, yeah. And bring letters for Santa. You know, he'll answer them. He'll definitely write back.
Well, and you can roll the car window down and hear some music too. Is that right?
We're hoping to have a new system
You have
this
some-
year. We're
But
gonna,
right now you're playing it. Speaker?
there isn't any on the outside. We have our fingers crossed that this new system will work.
You ought to be
and
able to find a radio station cranking out.
It'll
some
be
Christmas music
it'll be
right
coming
Ah,
through.
you're right.
It'll be coming through your car radio this year.
How about that?
He keeps making improvements.
incredible.
And if
High-tech.
something goes wrong with that, there's always Christmas
The old drive-in,
music on,
the old drive-in
other stations.
spectrum, the way they did it on your car radio. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah. And how is the response? Do people actually talk to you at all? Maybe you don't get a chance to.
Oh, I stop and I talk with everyone. Like I said, I'm handing out candy and I'm handing out brochures. Tells a little history of the display, tells a little history of the elves and Santa Claus and the town of Newfoundland. And so I give one of them out to everybody that comes through, and we chat a little bit. So that's how I know a lot of people came from Wilkes-Barre and Scranton
Sure.
last year and the years before. Yeah, just
It's an easy enough drive. There's no, especially off of the interstate. You're just really a few miles when it comes down to that. And
Right.
And there's something about we visited Christmas Village a couple of weeks back down in Berks County, and that's one of those places with like 1 million or 2
You're
million
right,
lights
yeah.
set up. But it's also in the middle of nowhere, and you come over this hill, and suddenly there it is in the distance. You see all these lights.
See, the good thing, this is in a non-urban area. If this was still in Brooklyn, these would be empty showcases probably if all this stuff was still out there these days. Well, that's the sad part about it.
they do it in Brooklyn
Oh,
too.
I know they do.
I don't know. And the reason I hesitate on that is we just recently had the marketplace at the old Globe store. And the Globe store was lit up. That's right across the street here, Joe.
Beautifully,
lit up
yeah.
like it used to be
Yeah.
when it was a department store.
Really
and
nice.
inside they had vendors and things, and it attracted a lot of
It did.
people. Now, they also had an simulated ice rink this
And
year.
especially this is the last year before it's turned into the offices, so this
That'll
was
be
a
a county
melancholy
building, yeah.
time this year.
Yes,
Right.
but I think when you have an attraction like that, if the old Leader store in Hazelton were still up, and you had this in their windows, I'm sure there'd be a flock of people.
You're right.
Because now it's a rarity,
You're right.
and you can only see it if you go to New York
my
City or
house.
Chicago or to Joe Spinelli's place.
Right, and you'll never see it in a Target or anything like that.
no.
So I mean, this is a dying, virtually vanishing type of genre. You'll never see it in the big
and
box
that's
store.
one of the reasons we're doing it to
Sure.
bring family together, bring the community
very
together,
nice.
and just get in the car with the kids and have a night out and bring the family closer together.
Right. Now, this year you've enhanced it with some of those animated figures or the Christmas figures that you picked up from your second buy, if I can put it that way. So are you trying to, even though you've got the basic trailer set up each year, are you trying to vary it each season?
What do you mean?
You're trying to change it a little
Oh,
bit each season?
we definitely try to change it a little bit. I mean, we did a major overhaul this year, and I'm a little tired from that. But by next year, I'm sure we're not going to do major overhauls again, probably, but we'll definitely be adding on more trailers again next year, and we'll make some changes on the other trailers. So it's always changing, and we try to keep it a little,
That's what I mean. So
interesting
even
and
if you've
fresh.
seen it before,
Oh, yeah.
it's different when you come through this
Right,
time.
right. Oh, it's definitely different this time. Yeah.
Now, you're doing all this, you're doing the work on it and everything else, and I mentioned this when we were off the air before, but I see Joe regularly on Facebook, and he's not he's not showing off his Christmas display.
Oh, really?
He's doing cooking shows.
Is that a fact?
They've dwindled down a little
Cooking with
bit.
Spinelli or what?
Basically, that's what it is.
Sort of, yeah. But Well, but I haven't done any recently because.
So are you a chef, Joe?
I used to be a chef, yeah, but I do
Really?
I do all the cooking at home, yeah.
How about that?
I love it. I love
You're
it.
a great domestic partner to have.
And my wife
around
is the
house.
worst person to cook for because all she wants is hot dogs and hamburgers
Get
and
out.
or steak. And
Oh my God, is she
She's
single?
no-
Is she still?
no-
Is she
she's
going
no
to be
fun.
single sooner?
I hope
I
not.
live on fast food. That's the perfect mate. Wow.
Yeah, when I do all the fancy cooking, I'm usually eating
Yeah,
it
the
by
one
myself.
yourself?
Yep.
Well, I mentioned Facebook for two reasons. First of all, give you a little plug on that cook, and I've always been amazed. When I first came across this, I saw you on there, and I couldn't believe it. I thought, well, he's going to show me how he's fixing
Yeah,
one of the
the-
figures for the display, but he was making sort of a casserole or something instead. But the other thing is that the display, the North Pole at Newfoundland, is also on Facebook.
Yes.
So
yes.
that if you want to have more information or you get a little bit of a view of it in advance or get those directions,
Or talk to me, or you can write to me on there, and or put pictures up or whatever.
And we have the ornament on the tree too.
Yeah.
From
yeah,
Yeah, but it's North Pole
that up.
Village on Facebook.
North Pole Village.
North
Pole
Pole
Village.
Village. Just type in North Pole Village, and we'll be there.
Right. Do you have any idea at all? I mean, you had that initial find of the store you used to go to, and then the one in New York City. Now, when we think that almost all the department stores, even in smaller cities, had these, did they just disappear? Are they hidden somewhere? There's got to be other things out
that's right.
there.
There's probably a lot hidden, but
what
like
was
I
the,
said,
what
there's
was the
also
store in Brooklyn that you got those?
there
from?
was Visconti's.
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 It
in
was a
Brooklyn.
department store,
It was like a seasonal store.
like a seasonal store.
Yep, yep. And then the places that we got it from in Manhattan were it was a 50-story building. They used to
Okay.
set it up in their
Where were you from?
lobby.
You were from Bensonhurst or Flatbush in that
I was
area?
from Flatbush.
Flatbush.
Yeah.
You're Canarsie. Then the
Yep.
yeah.
Canarsie was where
Yeah.
the displays
Oh,
were.
was that? That's I
set
thought
up.
from the
Yep.
store was Canarsie.
Yes. Yeah, the Canarsie Market.
I'm just
Brooklyn
wondering,
Terminal Market.
as this, because you've expanded so much in just a few, how many years have you actually done it now?
Well, we're doing it since 2007, I think it is. But we started setting them up on the porch at first. We were putting plexiglass up to cover our porch, and the day after Halloween, we started doing all of this, and it was a lot of work, and that's why I came up with the idea of the trailers, and now they basically stay set up. We just cover the fronts of the trailers after the season, and then
really-
reopen them
really
again
took
at the
off.
end of the
That's good.
year, and
Glad to see
then we have minimal work, moving stuff around, but not this year. This year we did a major overhaul, and so next year I'm hoping it'll be.
Well, this year
a lot less.
you added a trailer
We
this year?
added we added a garage. It's a 30 by 30 garage and a nice big garage door. So I plexiglassed the front of that, and now you
Oh,
can
that's nice.
you can see in there. And there's like 5 different displays set up in there. Well, they all came together as one.
Yeah. I'm kind of wondering, as the attention to your attraction sort of spreads, if you might not hear from other places that might have things that have been tucked away somewhere.
In storage, yeah.
And it would be so nice to salvage those things because, once they're past a certain point.
You're right.
In storage.
When the department store closes, you have the clock is ticking. You got a finite number of hours or days or weeks before they start to trash all that.
Well,
So it's like, that's the thing.
Yeah,
You got to
yeah.
act quickly on a deal
Like
like
I
that.
said, there's a group of us on
Exactly.
Facebook, and you see a post every once in a while from one of the others that, look at what I found this week, and everybody else, of course, is like, oh, geez.
Sure, because how did they
come I
miss this?
didn't-
Yeah, right.
You're always searching.
But they're keeping it alive, so
Sure.
it's great.
That's good.
It's going on throughout the country.
Nice tradition.
These things were made in Brooklyn, but they somehow made their way across the country.
Yeah.
Have you got any the initial display? Any idea how old it is?
Well, I have a couple of pieces that date back to 1922.
gee.
But this guy, I think the 50s is probably.
And
the
being a
oldest.
collector, I have to ask, will you ever think about what this is in cost, in collector's terms, what this is worth for the most
I
part?
know how much I want for them, but you know,
Like the
some people
whole,
don't want to pay
the
that
whole
now.
collection, though,
They're-
what do you think is worth-wise?
Over $100,000.
Over
but,
100,000.
Yeah. And you can see it for free and enjoy it with your family as you head to the North Pole at Newfoundland. And one more time before we have to go, Joe, the directions or how they get information about it.
Well, go to northpolevillage.org or North Pole Village on Facebook. And
Or
if you're-
391 Crestmont
or
for GPS.
391 Crestmont Drive, Newfoundland on your GPS. Or if you're not into the electronics, you get on Route 84, or get off at exit 17, make a right, go to the blinking light, which is Crestmont Drive, and you'll make another right there, and we're right up the hill on the right-hand side.
And I think you should take the time to enjoy it. It's a nice, pleasant ride for a great attraction. And if you're able to give a donation, that donation does wind up in the hands of charity, including one, as I say, that we support here at Electric City Television. Joe, thank you so much. Keep
Thanks,
up the good work.
Joe.
Merry
Thank
Christmas.
you, Dave.
Merry
Thanks
Christmas,
again.
Joe.
Thanks,
Merry
Merry
Rusty.
Christmas.
Merry Christmas
So
to you.
glad to have you back, and can't
Merry
wait to see
Christmas
what
to everybody.
what we have in store for next
Yes,
year. because
indeed. Keeps growing.
It does
Yeah.
indeed. Rusty Fender, thanks
See
for
you
joining
next week,
me.
David.
Yep, Mark
Okay.
Glory,
Thank
thank
you,
you
Mark.
for keeping us in focus. I'm David DeCosmo for ECTV Live. Until we see you again next week, here's hoping all your news is good.